So guys, as you can see, I'm in my very messy kitchen and I've came away from my messy room with all the boxes, mainly because it's hot in the UK and, you know, hot temperatures outside, 30 GPUs in the room doesn't go well together. I was literally sitting there sweating. So I actually went out and I spent a little bit more money and I got another webcam, another 4K Brio webcam. So I'm going to set it down here. So I've now got I've got three different webcams and the one on the laptop. So down here it might not be as good because it might pick up the noise from the freezer and things like that. But it's so much cooler, so much more relaxed. So what I'd like to do in this video is get to the point, which is I want to answer some of the comments that were left on this video. This video that I did the other day, quad M.2 cards, 4 GPUs for the price of one. You know, I'm starting to get more comments in my videos, and the comments on that video, and you know, I'm singling out that video, but the comments on all my videos are good. But on that video the other day, it was just a constant reminder that I've got a lot of very knowledgeable subscribers to my channel, and I'm not doing this to to suck up to anyone. The thing is, I think a lot of people assume that because you've got a YouTube channel that you're automatically an expert. I'm not. I'm far from an expert, but what I do think I am is an enthusiast. I'm someone who is a GPU miner. I enjoy doing it. I'm exploring different things. I'm trying to learn more. But with something like this, you know, what I was talking about, the M.2 cards, I tend, you know, it's just like anyone else. If you have no need to research something, then you don't research it. And last year when I researched cards and when I researched my whole setup, I did do a lot of research. I can't stress that enough. I think I spent about a month or so you know, doing spreadsheets, looking at what type of rigs to build. And I went for a NVIDIA rig on Windows on 8 GPUs. So I didn't explore a lot of the options that people were suggesting in the comment area. So I want to just get down some of the comments that were left. This is a follow-up video to that original video, so I'll link to this original video. I have responded to a lot of these comments as well, but you know, obviously I want to respond to them via video. So I'll just get down them all. Ben Babel, you'd almost be better off getting a 1x4 PCI Express adapter, but the quality is always kind of shifty. Chances are you'll need another PSU. The reason is you should never go above 8% of the PSU is to account for power and fluxes. Now my response to that was that I've got titanium and platinum PSUs, and you know, the boxes say that you can go up to like 90 odd percent. I'm running my 1060s at like 60 watts, 65, I think no, in fact they're 60 watts. So I've honestly got about, I don't know if I need to work out, but I've probably got like 400, 500 watts free in that rig after the motherboard. I don't know the exact draw of the motherboard. So I've got a lot of room in those rigs. It's actually more of an issue of space as far as the 8 GPUs, the way that the position take up all the rig. I need to put the GPUs in the next level. But as far as PSUs go, as far as the power supply goes, I think I'm okay. I think I can get up to 90% on those PSUs. I don't think I'd have any problems with that. Maybe wrong, but I think that's the case. And this is the thing, guys, as I said, you know, when I did set up those rigs and when I, you know, planned it all, I looked into videos, I was looking at reviews and videos of all these PSUs, and at the time, if you'd asked me at that point about whether my, you know, my power supplies can handle it, and I've got Evica T2s mainly, I'd probably be able to answer it, but several months later you forget this information. I think it's way cheaper and less headache to get an ASRock H110 Pro BTC and have 13 slots. Way less fiddling around. All of my rigs are 12 GPUs and one with 13 for no extra cost. And then he's linked to one and it says it's £99. That is undoubtedly a fantastic point. So many thanks to Mazabiro. Yes, so the one that I referred to here was like £110. It's very expensive. And he was saying, well, why not just buy another motherboard? And I guess it's more of a pain to do that because I guess you can just transfer your Windows setup, or if you're using Linux, transfer over the USB. But from a financial point of view anyway, Yes, I think that's a very good suggestion. I think that's a very, very good suggestion because, you know, if you're going to spend like £100 on an adapter, then why not just spend £100 on a motherboard that can natively accept 12 or 13 GPUs? So that does make more sense. Now, there's been a few other comments as well about the fact that you can buy cheaper PCI Express adapters. But there's also some comments which you'll see soon about bus lanes. So this is another area which makes me believe that maybe Mazza Bureau is very correct here as to what we should do. I'll scroll down and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Great in theory, but the real test to see how much trouble it gives you. Town is saying buy the Acorn S X2G. Right, so this is the one with the Acorn thing. I did, you know, admittedly, this is something I'm going to have to do a live stream on and kind of focus on it more. It says buy 2 Acorn accelerators, and the 4 square things on top are USB 3 riser plugs. Those 4 GPUs will be accelerated. So I'm going to have to look at those Acorns again because it seems like you can add 4 GPUs to them and they are accelerated and they will, you know, provide more efficiency. So if I was to go down the quad M.2 card route, the Acorn option does seem like a viable one because, you know, it not only is it allowing you to add additional GPUs, it's also allowing you to make those GPUs that are connected more efficient. In theory, I think that's, you know, what they're saying. Ben Babel, if you're using anything under an i7, you'll definitely have problems with PCI Express lanes after 11 to 12 cards. Yeah, I've just got Pentiums in my lanes. And there's some good points here by Joseph as well, in that, you know, a lot of people are saying that when in Windows, when you get to like, you know, 9 or 10, like 8, 9, 10 GPUs, things, because of the PCI Express lanes, because of, you know, all the lanes or the bandwidth and things like that, Windows starts to get a little bit screwy. Now, I don't know if that same problem arises with Hive OS. I think with Hive OS, you negate a lot of those problems as far as bus lanes and you know, PCI Express lanes and all that kind of thing. Joseph also pointed out there that he said there was an issue on X299 boards. And this is the thing where a lot of these boards, the ones from Asus and things like that, they only work with selected motherboards. So that is something to bear in mind as well. So, more comments. Gary said yes, they would work for a mining rig. I would say maybe overkill and you're paying more than you need to. When I want to 4-port PCI Express from eBay, we'll do the same thing for £13. Yes, they are kind of cheap Chinese crap, but so are the risers. So are the risers we all use anyway. Very good point. I can't argue with that whatsoever. I really can't argue with that. I mean, I'm using Chinese GPU risers like everyone else, and I could just buy one of those little, you know, X4s that gives you 4 lanes, or X16 to 4 GPU risers. I don't know if he shared. Did he share one? I think Gary might. No, I didn't. Someone shared one of those ones to explain what they mean. And yeah, can't argue with that at all. And I'll see if I can find. I'll see if I can find what he's talking about, just to show you guys. Probably should have prepared this. PCI to 4 CPU riser. I can't spell on this keyboard. So you get things like this. So you can see like that. So it's just like one. It's maybe it's an X16 or an X4, but it gives you. You can see there. You can attach 4 GPUs, and then it's just the risers there. So these things, I mean, well, that one is £36.99, but as Gary says, you order that from. Oh, in fact, sorry, he's saying £13. £13 is just for that part. That part there. This one also includes the risers. That's why that one is £36.99. So, yeah, can't argue with that. That's going to allow you to add 4 GPUs. You get the GPU risers built in as well. Reviews seem positive, and undoubtedly it would be even cheaper in China. The Zonic, I tried GPUs on board. It works, but it's not worth it. It just restarts without a reason or freezes 1 to 2 times a day. I tried everything. It could be possible, always the same. Now with 8 GPUs, everything is stable. And again, this comes down to I believe this is Windows. I don't believe you get this with Hive OS. I haven't tried SMOS yet, but that might be a little bit better as well. Yeah, so that's the thing. A few people have made kind of similar comments to that when you get to 9, 10 GPUs on Windows, just things start messing up a little bit. And I saw a couple of problems a few times. You even get registering my 8 GPUs. I had to change some things in the BIOS. So that's another thing that you have to take on board if you're building a rig. When you get to 9, 10 GPUs, if you think you're going to have that many GPUs, maybe do what Maza Biro says and maybe go for one of the motherboards that have like 12, 13 slots built into the motherboard, and it's designed for that. You know, it's designed specifically for that. Flight deck, nice vid with Acorns and the like. It makes sense to explore M.2 adapter, PSU and other options. Where I'm at right now is wanting to sell some of my 1060, sorry. Also on the H110 BTC Plus, there's a one full size 16 PCI Express 3 slot that seems primed for a couple of Acorns on an X4 Nest or something similar. I replied to that anyway. Keep in mind the Acorn product as DCA switch allows you to work with the Acorn more efficiently. The ASRock Quad M2 has been known to not work on all motherboards. Yeah, I mean, this is something I mentioned in the video as well, is that you need to be careful with some of the motherboards, some of the Quad M2 cards from like ASRock and Asus and things like that, because some of them do seem to be designed specifically for a certain range of motherboards. And I've seen that as well, you know, like right down, you guys can't see this, but I've got a USB Type-C adapter. This is just a, you know, an extension of, it's not showing well, but this is an extension of, get in there. This is an extension of my workplace. And even like that, you know, that you buy things like that, and sometimes it only works with certain cards, certain systems. And I saw that, you know, there's an adapter for my desktop upstairs, which is a type, you know, adds a Type-C, a Thunderbolt port to my computer. And I was thinking about adding it so I could use that screen upstairs and just use it down as an additional display. But again, it only works on my motherboard. It's not a general one that works with all motherboards. It only works on that motherboard. And it's the same with some of these Quad M2 cards from the more well-known brands. They are designed to work with a specific range of motherboards. So you always have to kind of check that. I did actually point that out in the video, but it's a fair point, very good point. And this is, you know, as far as the Acorns there, you're saying the X2G and other Acorn product has been designed to work with PCI Express 2, times 8 for the X2G, and times 16 for the Quad. Haristo, is that how you pronounce that? Haristo. There is 1 to 4 cards, and they work with most boards depending on your board and CPU, because the PCI Express controller and the CPU, not the chipset. And you can run up to 6 GPUs, and most motherboards you'll get 5. Alright, okay. I've not actually looked at this comment yet, so there's a couple of comments here I've not actually replied to. I've not replied to this one yet. All my rigs I like have 6 on the ASRock. Right. So what's he saying? He's saying that won't work. There is 1x to 4 cards, and they will work with most boards depending on the board. Ah, right. Okay. It's just so kind of similar to the suggestion earlier to buy one of the cheaper ones. I think that's what you say. Soft Wumble saying, Kev, it may be useful to reach out to the Acorn guys. Our Nest X2 is special one that has 4 USBs at the top to plug your GPU riser straight into. What's not clear is if you use it without 2 Acorns, could you use it with 0 or 1 Acorns instead? Yeah, this is actually, you know, when I first did a video about the Acorns, and I want to do like a live stream about this, and we can talk about it for a few hours, because it's a very, very interesting series of products that they've got. And at first, I had some reservations. I had a little bit of hesitation, and I still do. You know, just from more of a financial side, as far as should I be buying that, or should I just put the money towards an ASIC miner? So I want to explore that in a live stream. I reached out to them last week about doing a video together, doing a live stream together, or just chatting, even, you know, on a private Skype call, just to learn more about it. But they were actually flying at the time, and they're really busy, and I haven't got back to them. So I need to, you know, touch base with them. They're very busy people. I am myself. But hopefully I'll get to speak to them, and I'll, you know, learn a little bit more about it. Greg, you can plug 4 GPUs directly into the Acorn X2G. If you're going to run Acorn, seems like the way to go. There's also some funkiness with the other X16 M2 cards and how they handle stuff. I get that the minimum at the moment is X1 slots for GPUs, so everything is moving towards a higher end spec might as well. Yeah, very good point. Very good point. Daisy chain, I'm not sure. I think I said, can you expand on this? Right, okay, right, he's replied. Use the M.2 card to an M.2 adapter for an X16 riser. Theoretically, you could max out your PCI Express lines for your CPU with one slot. In practice, probably doesn't work. Yeah, I mean, this is getting into a technical PC world that I haven't really dived into as yet, as far as the maximum number of GPUs that you can attach to a board, and you also have to take the CPU into consideration. I went for, like most miners, I went for just cheap ass Pentium £40 CPUs, just cheap Pentium CPUs, and it does seem to be the case that if you don't have a good enough CPU for that, then it can struggle. But I don't know, you know, I'm still learning about this. I need to research that. And it does come back into what other people were saying, that if you're buying all these adapters, if you're going to buy a couple of adapters, different GPU risers, maybe you are better just switching your motherboard and buying one of those mining boards, you know, one of those ones with 13 or, you know, whatever, 16 GPUs. You know, with all the slots on board, it's designed specifically for that, right down to the BIOS. So, yeah, I'll be back to the drawing board, but it goes back to what I'm saying. You know, when I revisit all this, and you know, I'm doing what I said before as far as mine to buy, and I'm going to just accumulate a little bit of money and then go, right, what am I going to do with this? Say I got $1,000, I'm going to buy an ASIC miner. I'm going to buy build another rig with a couple of GPUs. I'm going to just buy some GPUs and put them into an existing rig. This is what I'm going to have to explore. And you know, there's a lot of good points being brought up here. All the quad M.2 cards like the Ashok you've mentioned here, or the Asus or the MSI one, all need the motherboards to support bifurcation. And there's no chance I've said that correctly. Unfortunately, the only supported boards are the X299 or the Threadripper boards. They cannot just be plugged into any motherboard and work, I'm afraid. Right. So yeah, this is something I wasn't aware of. When I did that video, you know, I was looking at the specs, I was looking at some reviews and things like that, but I hadn't really delved deep as far as what motherboards it works in and what the limitations are. So yeah, fantastic comment. Watching this with the subtitles on is hilarious. Would I say that? No comprendo. I'm laughing at my own comment now. Yeah. Subtitles and Scottish people do not go well together. Yeah, it doesn't go well together. And if you don't believe me, turn the subtitles on just now and just see the madness, see the gobbledygook that YouTube is putting up. X2G has 2 M.2 slots and 4 USB risers. Yep, very good point. That's what was brought up earlier. Kind of covered that. Get HP server PSU, $25 to $40 US on eBay. Works great. Also, your PCI Express lane is usually limited by the motherboard. I found 8 to 9 GPUs max on most boards. Just get a mining motherboard, 12 GPUs, no problem. Yeah, great comment. Very good point. As far as the server PSU, this was something that I explored before I bought my all my power supplies. So I've got basically 5 power supplies up there. I've got four EVCA T2s, and they're like a couple of £100 each. And I've got one Colink 1500, and I believe the Colink's titanium the highest. I think Colink's platinum, the rest of them the highest one, titanium. So I looked into server PSUs. Now, at the time when I bought it, it was like December, January. The market was in a bull run. Prices were insane, like absolutely insane. Not only that, prices were insane, but things were out of stock, which is, you know, one of the factors of why prices were insane. But yeah, it was very hard. I couldn't even, you know, power units were just being sold out. So I did look at some server PSUs. Server PSUs are much cheaper. They're nearly always cheaper, especially if you can pick up some second-hand ones from HP or Lenovo, all these older, you know, just taking out the old servers, a lot cheaper. But I'll need to check this again, but I do remember that when I looked into this at the time, I did consider it. I did look at, I had some bookmarked on eBay, but what put me off was decibels, like the sheer, you know, noise of these things. And I looked at the noise, I looked at the decibels, and then I looked at the price of the FCAs, and I thought, you know what, they come with 10-year guarantees. They run a lot quieter as well. So at the time, maybe it was a mistake, but at the time I turned towards just a regular power supply for a PC. Dave Tech, awesome, less equipment the better. I recently did add one of those 1 in 4 adapters, seems to work in my old dual core. That's good to hear. And if you haven't already done so, please do subscribe to Dave's channel, Dave Tech CA. Sorry, Dave. So Dave Tech is a good GPU mining channel. He does a lot of awesome miner videos, so please give him some love. Towards the end now, Jeremy, the U-Bit Phone 1 Riser board works fine to add more GPUs to the Z278 and costs under $30. You can add a 9th on the motherboard with the second M.2 slot. My 12 GPU 1060 rig uses that board and we split it and has been great. Using the PCI Express M.2 you've listed for econs could be a problem if your motherboard doesn't support bifurcation. Now that's what was said before. I need to look into that. Once you get over 9 cards on board, things get a little hairy though. They're reliable to a fault, but getting them all working the first time can be a chore. Yeah, so that kind of goes back to what people were saying, that after 9 GPUs, things get a little bit screwy in Windows. But Jeremy has got the same motherboard as me. Sounds like he's got the same setup as far as 1060s go. So in theory, I could take 4 GPUs out of the rig above, put them down below, take the other 4 GPUs, put them on, and I'll make it, instead of 3. Right now I've got, I'll rewind. Right now I've got rig 1, 2, and 3, and I've all got 1060s, 8 1060s, 8 1060s, 8 1060s. In theory, I could unplug 4 from the middle shelf, plug 4 down below to the one below, plug the other 4 to the one above. So now I've got 2 rigs with 12 GPUs, 12 1060s. And then I freed myself up a motherboard. And that motherboard, it's an Asus Z278, costs like £150. I've got 4 GB of RAM on it, I've got a CPU in it, I've got a Windows installed SSD in it. I'm good to go and just start another rig. So that definitely is an option. If I buy an M.2, one of those PCI Express 1 to 4 adapters and maybe another M.2 slot adapter, I could get 12 GPUs and I could have a free rig. So then what I do is, I've got the rig, I've got everything set up, I could buy a couple of AMD cards perhaps, plug them in, I'm good to go. Not saying I'm definitely doing this, I'm just thinking out loud. It's very, very interesting seeing that Jeremy has got pretty much an identical setup to me, and instead of having 8 GPUs he's went for 12. He's saying that there are problems, but I'm hoping that if I was using Hive OS instead of Windows, maybe it would be a little bit better. I don't know. That's something I'd have to tackle, but there's so many different things to explore and so many different ways I could do this. Steve Lee, the more GPUs you have under one system, the more headaches you will have. I have various rigs between 4 and 6 GPUs and one ASRock H110 Pro PTC with all 13 GPUs occupied. Guess which one gives me the more trouble? When you expand to a certain level, stability and uptime becomes more important because most of us have other jobs. Yeah, and that is the risk. That is the risk. If I do expand, that is one of the risks that I could have. One of the risks, one of the dangers that I could experience. Sorry, as far as expanding it, maybe I could run into problems. Now, for me to test that, the easiest thing for me to do, I'll just scroll back up here. So many thanks to everyone who left a comment, guys. I'll leave a link to this video. But going back to his comment there, as far as what I can do now, I think what I could do is buy one of these cheap adapters, one of these, £13 1 to 4 adapters. I could plug it into the rig below. I could take GPUs from the rig above, put the cable down, as long as the cable reaches, plug it into the rig below, and then I can test how does Hive OS work with 8 GPUs. Now 9 are attached, now 10 are attached, now 11 are attached, now 12 are attached, and then be an interesting video to do. So I might look into that a bit. Even if I don't actually keep the board for the purpose of a test, for the purpose of a video. It's a very cheap video for me to do, so I might do that. I might order one of these cheap £13 PCI Express slot 1 to 4 GPU riser adapters. Very cheap investment for me, and I can test that, and then I can see how it runs on Windows, and I can see how it runs on Hive OS. My guess, Windows will be an absolute nightmare, but I'm hoping that Hive OS could be good with that, so that could be good. So yeah, there's a lot of things to take on board there for you guys and for me. A lot of different options there that, you know, as far as instead of getting a quad card, I could buy one of the cheaper ones, the 1 to 4 adapters from China, like $10, $15, very, very cheap. I could buy another motherboard. I could buy a completely new motherboard. I could buy like the ASRock with 13 GPUs. Some people say that it works fine. Other people say you have some problems. Might be related to Windows. Or I could buy one of those Acorns, which, you know, I've got the GPU risers in the top that also offers acceleration. Or I could save my money, put it towards an ASIC mining machine, a Masternode, or whatever. But just thinking out loud again, guys. So many thanks, guys. I'm glad you enjoyed the video. That was a kind of thinking out loud video, but the comments have been absolutely fantastic. So thanks to everyone who left a comment. I realise I've not responded to every comment over the last day or two. I've had a lot to work on. But many thanks, guys. Fantastic comments, and I hope you've enjoyed this video as well. So moving forward, there's a lot of things I can explore, a lot of things that I could do with my setup as far as changing it. And I think it will all come down to how I want to spend my money, as far as, you know, if I save up $1,000, do I buy some secondhand GPUs? Do I buy an ASIC miner? Do I buy some coins? Do I buy a Masternode? This is something I'm going to tackle in a few weeks. I'm going to review it and decide what to do. You know, the reason I'm saying wait in a few weeks is because the market, you know, the cryptocurrency world and the market changes so quickly right now. It's hard to keep pace with it. But I do recognise that there are some ASIC mining machines coming out. There's 8-hash ones coming out. There's, you know, the Ethereum ones coming out as well. But I also recognise that there's some really good bargains out there for used GPUs. So perhaps buying a couple of AMD GPUs, you know, buying some AMD GPUs, linking them with an Acorn where you get 2.7 times the hash rate. Maybe that's an option. I don't know. Thinking out loud again. So many thanks for watching, guys. I really do appreciate everyone who's contributed to the last video and to all my videos. If you haven't already done so, please do click like, subscribe, all that palaver. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll do some more videos soon. So until next time, guys, take care.